and coped with a lot of adversity throughout the match. 15 minutes before half-time, at 14-0 down, I'd have gladly donated a bollock for a try before the break. To get 12 with... Sorry, no, we didn't get 12. To get 2 with 12 men was more than we deserved. Wakey seemed to lose concentration after Johnston was injured, but put that right after half-time. Hope him and Tupu are both okay.
Joshua's granddad, your dad, said, flat, lifeless performance by FC, unable to handle a big Trinity pack left... Unable to handle the big Trinity pack left F2F battered. What's F2F?
I don't know.
Battered. Strangely, Bulls only decent.
No, what you've done is you're actually reading what he's written. What you need to do is read what he's meant to type but hasn't checked what he's written. So I think it's unable to handle the big Trinity pack left us battered. Strangely, Hull's only decent period coincided when down to 12 men. A poor performance by Mr. Moore only added to the frustration of the night. A yellow, not a red, for a late challenge on Sneed.
I'm just going to get you, even on episodes where you're not on, to read your dad's one so then we get the right message.
Just be grateful it's typing and not handwritten.
Always in our shadow said, how the hell did Kermond escape with just a yellow? Well, he's got a 2-game ban, hasn't he?
He has, quite rightly, sir.
For dangerous contact, it's on the rap sheet, but I'm guessing it's for that challenge on Mark Sneyd. Anyway, Moore was pants, but FC pantier. No real answer to the big bastards. No pressure on kicker. Miller allowed to milk penalties at will.
Yep. Phil Nadin said, shit tackling, shit line speed, shit kicking, no creative gameplay in the last 10 to 20 metres. Oh, and some shit passing. Wakefield took advantage of this and walked over us. Just shows how shit Leeds must be.
Well, Wakefield also took advantage of Leeds on Leeds' own patch. So 4 sin binings in the game.
Yep.
Let's start there. Was it a dirty, nasty game, or was it just...
No, that's the weird thing. It wasn't a dirty match at all. So Albert Kelly's sin binning was after a second high tackle. However, I didn't feel that the first high tackle was actually a high tackle. So I don't know whether he got it because it was the second one or whether Moore felt that it was a bad one. Yes, we said from straight on that that it was a high shot, and I did say I reckoned it'd be a yellow, and it was.
Fair enough.
Then
Kerman was the next one for the challenge on Sneyd that we talked about. Then Sneyd himself went off for dissent.
Yeah, he had put a kick through and was taken out off the ball, and then when he got to the ball, he kicked it pretty much out of the stadium in frustration. So again, it was a stupid one.
And then just for good measure, Paulie got a sin bin for the high tackle on the hooter. So, I mean, talk us through it. How did you feel watching this one?
We just didn't seem up for it at all. We were flat. We'd gone back to playing boring rugby like we were doing in our 13-match losing spell. Whereas the last few matches, it's been nice to see us passing the ball around, but there was none of that. We looked like we didn't remember how to tackle. Yes, you expect people like Fafita and Paulie are going to be difficult to tackle, but Reece Lynn shouldn't really be bouncing off players in the way that he was. I thought Liam Moore allowed a lot of interference at the play of the ball, a lot of slowing down, a lot of niggly play. It felt like a very, very slow match. And right. I know that we had the stoppages for the injuries and everything, but when you glance up at the clock and see that there's 25 minutes left of the half and you're not quite sure how you're going to last for the 25 minutes.
It feels like you've only really had the energy for first halves this week, Sarah.
Yeah, maybe I'm just a 40-minute fan.
One thing I was going to ask you about was Danny Houghton's try. I still haven't worked out how he got the ball out and scored that one.
He just took it out of Jacob Miller's hands.
So Miller was maybe decent with the ball, but not in that situation.
Yeah, Sneed put the kick in like he did quite a lot beginning of last season and the season before. Kick to under the sticks. Miller read it and scooped it up and even sort of turned, and Houghton was there, and you thought, oh great, he's going to dump him over the line, but instead of dumping him over the line, he just sort of pulled the ball out and put it down.
Right. And it took a long time to get any scoring going, actually, didn't it? Nearly half an hour before Hampshire ran from under his own sticks to under your own sticks.
Yeah. So, yeah, it wasn't a particularly entertaining match. I mean, Farema's try right on the stroke of half-time was lovely. Again, it was a kick through. And Michael was, oh, that's too hard. And then, of course, he picked it up and scored. Managed to put the ball down in the in-goal area. So that was a nice try.
Were there any strong performers for Hull?
Well, it's a bad state of affairs when the official club, select your man of the match from these four when two of them are substitutes, and the winner is actually a substitute. Jez Little got that man of the match. I think I would have possibly gone for Beretta. He did carry the ball forward well and did make some good hits.
And what about the Trinity side? Big raps on for Fita in this one, and it looked like Reece Lynn played a bit on the wing as well as in the centre and scored from both positions.
Yeah. I mean, Fafita, just bounced off players at will. And if he wasn't bouncing off them, he was offloading in the tackle. I think a lot of their good stuff came because of our incompetence at tackling. Reece Lynn, people just weren't prepared to sort of put the effort in to tackling him. Mark Minicello was back to his, running as far from one touchline to the other, because he was taken off, and Radford said that was because of his performance. And he'd had a couple of good matches, and then it goes back to his useless self. So,
I mean, did it? It sounds like it's undone quite a bit of the goodwill that the players had built up with three exciting performances before this one. Do you think it's just a bad day at the office for a stuttering side that still haven't found their full confidence?
I hope so. It's one of those that we'll only really see, I think, like in a couple of weeks. Because we've got some, obviously we've got London on Sunday, which is going to be hopefully not too challenging, but they're on a roll, and
I can't say that they're not going to be too challenging, having lost to them myself, but
yeah. And then we've got Warrington and Salford, so it's not an easy next 3 weeks.
There's no easy games this year, is there? From Wakefield's perspective, then, I suppose really good for them to get a win when they've lost some of their best players during the game. Do you think did anything really change when the two big men, the two star men, Johnston and Tupu had gone off, or was kind of the writing already on the wall at that stage for Wakefield, or did they extend things? Did they hold on, or did they improve?
This won't be popular with Wakefield fans, but I do think that 20 points did slightly flatter them. They were definitely the better team, but I would say maybe by 2 scores rather than 3+ scores.
Fair play.
Sorry?
That's a fair play, yeah. No?
Yeah, the game was never really in. Well, you kind of thought when you come back to 14-12 after having had a man in the sin bin, you kind of think, well, half time, let's sort ourselves out and we can come out and compete. And we didn't.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So Wakefield fans will be relieved to get the win when they've had some players go off, and sets them up in a decent position. They're on 6 points now with you, I think. I don't know. There's a lot of players.
4 points. They're just a couple of points ahead of us on points difference.
Lots of teams on 4 points right now. Okay, 6 points, sorry, right now. And we'll move along to another team that went on to 6 points, Sarah. A result that most of us probably quite enjoyed and maybe was a little bit of a tonic to our own defeats. And
yeah, it was quite exciting to have something good to watch during the match. Your Twitter feed.
Well, of course, we're talking about the game at Headingley, where it finished Leeds Rhinos 16, London Broncos 18. It had been 8-0 at half time, and then it was all Leeds to get them into a 16 points to 8 lead. And then London managed a remarkable last 10 minutes where they won 18-16 in front of 11,229 at Headingley. Chris Kendall was the referee. In terms of the stats, with 411 more metres, made at 1.4 metres per carry better average gain, with 8 breaks to 4, 8 more successful offloads, and a huge 6.7% better team tackle success rate. The stats struggle to explain why Leeds didn't win this one. The only major stat against them, though, was errors. They made twice as many as London, 12-6 on that count. This game actually saw the most missed tackles / tackle busts, because, one breeds the other, of any game so far in 2019, and the most runs from dummy half this year, 2 in a game. Individually, Elliot Keir, who seems to come up big in all the London wins, 7 tackle busts, 190 metres from him. Elwar Pelissier, the pizza boy, 43 tackles, 5 tackle busts, 141 metres. Reece Williams, a try assist, 119 metres. Eddie Batty, the sandwich smasher, 115 metres and 3 successful offloads. For the losing Leeds side, Conrad Hurrell still impressed at 10 tackle busts, 183 metres, 3 successful offloads. Nathaniel Petru, 179 metres. Jack Walker, 12 tackle busts, 168 metres. And Trent Merrin, 1 try, 149 metres and 5 successful offloads. That's Merrin's first try in Leeds colours. Do you want to give us the first of the fan reviews?
Yep, Dr. Hideous says, we're not just staying up, we're going to make the playoffs win. And our sheer awesomeness will be recognised by the RLIF by giving us a place in the World Cup, which we'll win.
Adam Conley 87 just said laughing emoticon emoji, whatever they called that.
Dr. Bob was succinct and said bollocks.
M9UHL, Josh, said, that's the first positive game I watched. Lola here was all over the park. Myla ran from dummy half, which he is better at that than anything. London were amazing. Keep it simple, stupid. Drive and score points. Leeds just tried too hard. I think with Merrin's try, you can tell he does love being here, and Hurrell at the end of the game was in tears. I think they care more than people give them credit for. London, literally dark horses.
Fat Boy Rob says, laughing emoticon. Rolling around laughing emoticon. Poo, rhinos, laughing emoticon, rolling around laughing emoticon.
I'm glad yours shows all of mine, because yours all shows all of those, because when mine's printed off, half of them have just turned into square boxes.
Yeah, it doesn't show it on my computer, but I knew on my phone it did, so I'd seen it last night, so I went back in to do it.
Well, we need to make sure it's correctly quoted on that.
Well, this is it. Otherwise, Fat Boy Rob says something that looks like an alien, a rectangle. It just doesn't quite have the same.
No. Paul Chamberlain said, well, if you thought you could hear a funny sound on Friday night, that would be 11 Super League chairman's ring pieces expanding and contracting like a cigar cutters on poppers. Just when they thought they had rigged the system, a few will now be sweating like a stray dog in a Chinese restaurant. 15 out of the 17 Broncos were British with a salary spend of only 1.2 million. Bollocks to overpaid fat NRL rejects.
Yeah, it's good to hear, actually, that they are now predominantly British and how well they're doing.
Yeah, a lot of the players, several of the players have come through their systems that played in this game as well, and some, young players too.
Shoddy and Munger said London must be giving a few poor teams sleepless nights at the moment. Any assumptions about relegation need to be reconsidered. We are not quite at cheating the salary crap stage yet, but it will be worrying a few.
Rich Wilkinson said, I don't want to take anything away from London. Good on them for all their effort and team spirit. In contrast, Leeds turn up for 10 minutes. A few of the guys are putting it in, but still not playing as a unit. Unfortunately, the majority of the players are simply stealing a wage. There is something terribly wrong at Leeds. We are a total relegation fodder. The serious question is, can enough be done before it's too late?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Cutthroat for Jake said fuck.
Roger the Cabin Boy says the things the club will do to bring back the Bradford Derby matches.
John Hamilton said after a few tough opening rounds, I thought we'd get some wins, and